So.
They haven't changed.
Yeah, that's true.
So I figured we'd go through the plan images to see that
Okay.
whether we're on the right track or not.
All the images I thought were pretty good.
One of the maps wasn't really done to my satisfaction because of time. Keep losing landscape architects. The one that
Really?
worked on this, her last day is this Friday or this Friday. I don't know what's going on. Everybody's jumping ship.
Actually. It ain't something I can say.
Oh,
It's 50, 60 meg.
oh.
Looks to me. Sorry.
Are you able to pull up the document by chance? Or,
Yes, I
or
am.
can I do that if I have the?
Are you sure, Lisa?
It's not me. It's not me.
I know it's not you. I saw what you were doing.
So the things I wanted to talk about tonight were basically seeing how close we are to the plan being more or less ready for public consumption. And if we're there, then to talk about a schedule for rolling out. So I kind of went through the upcoming meetings that are going to be going on June, July. So we can hit the June Plan Commission meeting. That's June 2nd. June 14th will be the Business Association and the EDA being on the same day. And council also June 21st.
Okay.
And after all of that, maybe reconvene for one final task force to
Yep.
see if anything needs to be adjusted.
Tie anything up, yeah.
So that would be the last day of, or the last Monday like we've been doing. And then you get to council in July. What do you think, Rick?
That sounds like a good time.
Okay.
That's,
I'd like to see it.
Is it the other, are we looking for the outreach schedule? Is that?
No. I just talked through that. So let's
Okay.
go to page.
Before
Robert
we
on?
move on, no. No, he's not available tonight.
Hey,
oh, I thought he was gonna be, he was,
No,
Typos, got it.
no,
maybe that was originally, because I saw an email where he said he might be participating through Zoom.
oh, the email I got was that he's not gonna be able to attend and that he would send you any notes if he had any comments.
Yeah, well, I didn't get any notes,
Okay, so,
or at least not up until,
What's going on?
cleaners, do you want me to shut the door?
No, I've never noticed it that loud.
Oh, yeah, they have the trash bins on wheels. Before we move on from the schedule, so I had proposed that instead of having our May meeting, because it falls on Memorial Day, could we do it the week before? It's usually the last Monday
For this,
for May.
I don't think we need one for May.
Oh, we don't.
Well, unless we do now, because there's not enough people here. But I was thinking that we would have this meet, like the tie-up meeting before taking it to,
Yeah, no, that's fine.
but
Okay.
I'll leave it to you guys. If
well, I think we're gonna have to see. I haven't gotten any comments from Robert. So I'm assuming,
we could always do email exchanges too.
yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, no
I
sense
think
having
so.
this meeting and another one. It would either cancel this one or just do it via email, which is my vote.
Okay, let's do that.
I have a couple of substantive kind of comments. I think others will have a chance to respond to. Either talk about tonight or we can, if we do the meeting.
Let's go through all of the comments and then we can decide how to handle them.
start from the beginning.
Do you have a page that you're looking at?
Yeah, just a minute. This is the substance one on page 757. Project approach. I mentioned this before. It struck me that the way that reads, let's see, I think the second, well, let's see, it's all part of the first, oh no, it's the second sentence. As a fully built out city, the focus of this document is on redevelopment and the use of land in the city's core. Well, I guess it's third. Revitalization can encourage denser development. I just, it seems kind of not really very substantial to say it in that way. Maybe I'm misreading it, or maybe we don't intend to do, we don't want to do that here. I don't know. But it just seems like it's something like revitalization is, that's our intent. Is encouraged.
Are you thinking that revitalization is, that density is not necessarily one of the goals?
No, it is a
It
goal, and it doesn't seem to read that way to me.
Okay, so we need to emphasize that through this project, we want to make it denser.
Right, revitalization, I guess it could be something like revitalization can encourage denser development, which is something we want, or is instead of can.
Oh,
Revitalization is encouraged.
revitalization is encouraged.
Or excuse me,
Or
density is
encouraged in this. Okay, I think I can work with that.
or intended. It just seems so tentative to me. I think it works better if it's making a statement. And that may be substantial for some of the other members. So I would want to not just kind of slip that in.
Mhm. How, yeah, we can make changes like this. And I can have like a short memo that would go along with it.
Cool.
And send it email.
Cool.
What page is that on?
That is on page 7 of 57 in the project approach paragraph. Another one that isn't that big of a deal. In the next page, 8 of 57, Margaret doesn't get mentioned at all as one of the ways in which people come into downtown, coming from the east. Westbound 36 exits at Margaret. That's another entrance to the city.
We did talk about that last month.
Yeah, and I didn't see it in here. Maybe I missed it. I think that's, it isn't a you one, but it's certainly way in which people can get in.
You said that was west.
Westbound.
Westbound 36.
Yep.
Exits at Margaret, comes into downtown, and should be mentioned.
She'll have been using that for a long time.
Isn't that fairly new though?
Since
Well, since the redevelopment.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
before that, you could get off the market.
You know,
Oh, with the stoplight, yeah.
at the stop.
I think I drove through that a couple times. Back in my younger years.
Actually, my wife got hit
Mm,
Ooh,
when she was in high school.
mm.
And somebody somebody on 36 ran the red light and hit her. And because she was only 16 or 17, the police officer assumed she was the one that was in the wrong. And fortunately, her uncle was 2 cars behind and saw the whole thing.
No,
Came up and
actually,
said, no.
wasn't there another, just a stop sign at another exit? Or, not even an exit off of 30. Oh, yeah, cross 36, before we had the bypass here. What street was that?
A stop sign?
Yeah,
up at 50th.
maybe that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
that's an old-
that's an
It's
old, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking.
Across there. Brandy, you ready for another? These are just typos. 18 to 57. Under streets and highways, second paragraph, last line. The divided roadway in the vicinity of its overpass lots. I think the W should be taken, stricken out of there. Overpass at Highway 36, not lots.
Is this in the last paragraph?
It's the second paragraph under streets and highways, the
Oh.
last sentence,
Overpass.
or the last line.
So WAT gets out of there.
The AT stays, but
Oh,
the
I
W
see.
goes. And on 21 and 57. Under the third paragraph, first column, third to the last line, individuals in the group and to owner their homes, the ER article.
Good.
I think there's just- Oh, I like the identity thing on page 28 to 57. One of substance, we talked about the density earlier. In the guiding principles, should there be something in there about the concept of densifying the area, as kind of one of the guiding principles. I'm not sure if it should be in there or not.
I think it
Just point
should.
it out.
I think that might warrant its own bullet point.
And 32 of 57. In the last paragraph, third to the last line. Make this big column. Of buttery gardens, butterfly gardens. I'm interested what buttery gardens are.
Nice job, though. Remind me of my wife. She used to get the Lily newspaper got mailed to her at Gustavus when we were in school, and she would proofread it and send it back to her dad. She would give her all the typos and.
You didn't just hire her on the spot and have her come into work before it got printed.
Yep.
I think that's it.
Okay. Did we want to go through the districts and the images to see if they are in alignment with what we were thinking? I didn't
I
give,
like the maps a lot.
okay,
Yep.
And that is coming from a geographer, so, I mean, that to me adds another dimension. To be able to visualize what we're talking about,
Yep.
in the areas, makes a lot of sense. I like that.
yeah, those were challenging for me. So the,
There you go. There are a couple of maps that go- But- Here. Oh. 13 and 57. Yeah, it was on the maps. So I missed the blue mark.
oh, institutional, wrong color. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, institutional should be a later. I think it's a navy blue or something.
I'm not even on the internet and this keeps timing out.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay. So no changes to the maps at the end or?
The map at the end.
Well, all the different district maps
Oh,
and images that go with them.
I didn't have any comments when I looked through it.
I didn't see any issues with. I did notice that color difference and I said, well, blue's blue, so I just didn't.
On the
even-
same one that you were
Yeah.
talking about? Are you looking at it as a phone?
Yeah, but I looked at it on my
Oh, okay.
laptop at home, but my laptop, the battery's dead.
Mhm.
So I would have to plug it in and I thought, that's.
Okay.
That gets in the too hard pile.
Yeah.
The overlay district on 1657. I showing my ignorance here, but it is the downtown overlay district over everything on 7th and that little peninsula of Margaret. You don't have the stripes on the.
I asked this question of Elaine a few months ago. And because I was confused by this as well. And I thought that maybe the mapping, the zoning map was incorrect, but this matches the zoning map. So this.
Okay.
um,
Yeah, I thought I saw it other places, but I didn't ask about it now.
But I agree, bizarre.
It's kind of looking to me.
does it
Right.
make sense to? It's part of the reason why we're gonna come back with the zoning map update is because of this
Mhm,
issue.
mhm. Yeah, it's hard to publish that before you.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on.
Well, maybe it's something to bring up at the. When it's in front of the planning commission.
Yeah, I agree. That would be a good time, because then we can talk about it and maybe get that moving concurrently.
Yeah.
Do an update.
Mhm.
I don't know if we can move that quickly with the zoning map, I think we can.
Yeah.
To have it ready to go in
Yeah,
July.
public hearing.
Wonder if you could put something in there, because I don't know if we'll be printing Do you think we'll print hard copies of this, or do you think it'll just be electronic?
That's up to you.
Yeah, I think we need the city to decide whether they want to do that. Maybe it's the council's. One time.
And maybe we could just put a placeholder and keep it electronic until the zoning map is complete, and then we could print what's accurate if they decide they want to print.
How would you see the story map working with this? Would it pretty much stuff out of here? I mean, you know, if we're talking about publishing, maybe publishing a story map might be more visible to many more people, especially developers and stuff.
The only problem I foresee with the story map is the expense of keeping that going, because it's going to be constantly updating and changing. It's not
So a lot
something,
of
yeah, that's something you would do internally here and not at this point.
You don't have a webmaster?
Carrie?
I'm kidding.
No, not a webmaster. Carrie does our website.
If there was a
Okay.
GIS person, like we don't have that. Otherwise, Carrie might be somebody.
I don't know. She's a contract. She's hired by contract.
Oh,
So
she,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah. And so I was thinking WSB, if that's something you guys contract. I know that was brought up.
We
but,
certainly could. It would have to be a collaborative effort between the city and WSB to
Mhm.
kind of be in the know
Right,
Exactly.
right,
as to what's happening and when things need to be updated and
right.
what do we want to market, that kind of stuff.
Concerned with balls dropping.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we'll have to see what happens here in the next, I don't know, 6 months or so. We're going to be hiring somebody. So that should help, and I would imagine that person would be heavily involved with that, because they'll be the director of community services.
Mhm.
So I would imagine that person, you know,
And-
who would follow it.
And on the, you know, the plus side here is, I think that could make for a very visible and usable and understandable.
Right.
tool. So, you know, and project a, you know, a forward thinking community.
It's helpful to have those maps available for your residents too, because I don't know if you get calls from people. I know I used to, what's going on with such and such development and why didn't I get notified? So I'm familiar with that.
You were 500 feet.
Just outside.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's something we will have to propose to management, maybe get a bid from WSB or quote.
I would say let's put a pin in it until we've got direction from your new director or.
Okay.
And if it's in the blend of, okay, what do we want to do with this? Do we want to make a printed paper copy?
Of the
Which has a
story
certain
map
cost
or this.
of this, or do we want to do a story map and, you know, a digital document?
I
And,
see,
you know, kind of, what is the kind of the strategy?
yeah,
And it might, you know, I think it ought to be in the mix as being one possible option.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, I like it personally, but yet I'm not deciding. And
are you talking
I
about
just
a
want
hard
people to
copy?
be aware of.
Or what do you mean, the hard copy or the story map idea?
I think that's some of the decision. Is it one or the other, or a combination of something?
Well, I think having a paper copy or hanging around isn't gonna be that big of a deal. But
But
Unless we have a
if it's,
commercial printer do it. I
It's
mean, if it
printed.
was something that was of high quality, I mean, we could certainly always do small copies of.
Yeah,
the-
I think that as requested, we could just
printed.
57 pages of
Yeah.
printed.
Yeah,
Right,
Right.
right.
I
And
think
then you
most,
could keep a master copy and just put it on the copier and
Sure,
mhm.
I
yeah,
think most people would be using it online.
yeah.
Because after it's rolled out, who's
I
gonna be the
agree.
audience? It's
Yeah.
gonna be
Yeah.
developers, and you're just gonna point
the
them.
master
Yes.
plan is really for developers
Mhm.
and they're going to work with it online.
Yeah,
They're not gonna,
Yeah, I see the story map. Now that word story map is just like an Esri term, but that's the map. You know, Esri.
it's interactive, right?
Basically,
Yeah.
it's just like their product, and that's what they call that particular thing, because you can kind of scroll down it.
Somewhat
Tell a
interactive.
story, yeah. So of those.
You
people-
click on a piece of property and then we'll bring the property up.
Exactly, yeah. So you can have that, this is the place, this is the link to the plan, which would have this to show you, go to page blah, 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 or just include that,
Mhm.
those couple of pages related to the bank district, for example.
Yeah.
To show what the objective is for this particular block or site or district.
Mm.
And then,
Yeah.
as, developers want to come forward or property owners want to advertise their site for something to be fun. So they would work. But it will be something to manage that will have to be figured out.
Mhm, mhm. And then on the CIP
So you
plan,
go to Google Earth.
Well, just in terms of like what's being acted upon,
Yeah,
somebody's got to keep track of that from the city standpoint, like when do we get
Yep.
developments and when do we approve the proposals?
Mhm.
that's not being tracked right now.
Sure.
So yeah, my only other comment is that the capital improvement plan for budgeting and expenses is always done prior to the next year. So I know they've already set the budget for this year, so I don't know if it's something that will roll out next year or how that would work, but that's something that the director and the city manager.
Plan.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think if that was on John's radar. I think we've mentioned it to him, but
I can bring it up to him.
wonder if that story map ideas in this.
it seems to me we've talked about that before.
I don't know if we have that.
No, with
Okay.
John.
I don't know if John was at the meeting when we were talking about it or not.
I think it was discussed a little bit in here at one of these meetings.
Yes, I
Yes,
believe.
yes,
And
I
then you
brought
sent
that
a
up.
link. St. Luke Park, somebody. And it's free.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I just saw one for Brooklyn Park.
Oh, Brooklyn.
yes.
So I was
Yes.
there last week and I thought theirs was pretty good.
Uh-huh.
I know that WSB has some that they've done, but I can't remember which cities they were for. So, get into that. But I mean, they're all kind of the same product. It's
Yeah.
just You're on cities. So. One of the things that we didn't get to last week or last month was the implementation priorities. We want to walk through those tonight. That's on the last page.
It's on the last page.
I have this on my hard drive, so that I'm not on the internet, still timing out on
When this gets all said and done, it'll get pressed. So it's not such a bear.
Oh, is that
That might be part of
probably
it.
part, yeah, it must be.
If I scroll too fast, I get a blank screen and I go back to the beginning.
Oh,
Oh.
That's frustrating. Okay,
So
let me go through it with you.
it's a pain in the rear end.
So under the non-infrastructure projects. Oh, development story map is in there. Good. Market vacant sites and buildings. I would see that as being high priority. Create
Okay.
a percent for art funding program.
That is not an option according to the city attorney. We do have that for our park improvement. I don't know if it's a park. Our park,
Dedication fees.
yeah, park dedication, that's what I was.
Oh, man, you're gonna make me take that out. I thought it was such a
I
good idea.
know, we tried, we really tried.
Okay. Outdoor dining ordinance. Oh, you're working on that now, I think.
Are we?
Well, maybe not.
I think we need one.
We've been talking about it. I'll put that as high.
Um,
Update design. Just tell me if I'm saying the wrong thing. Update the design guidelines. I'm thinking maybe a medium, because that's gonna the priority for plan commission, but downtown design guideline book,
Oh, they want that updated too. don't
they do, but I feel like that might. Somebody else is gonna need to prioritize that, put money in the budget,
Yeah,
but maybe, I don't know, maybe if this document says it's high priority, we can do that.
yeah, that's not, I don't think for any of us in here to make that call.
What do you think? Is that a priority or high, medium?
Outdoor dining,
No, the downtown design guideline book that it was kind of the impetus for.
Yeah.
The update the downtown design.
I
I think.
I
that-
believe that that's. Of course, I'm not listed on that, so maybe I shouldn't really get saved.
You're on the task force.
I know,
okay?
I think they should be updated.
Okay, I'll give that a high.
I
What I
I
was
agree
gonna
with
say,
you.
Yeah.
I think it's outdated enough that it conflicts in a lot of ways. It's ambiguous
Yeah,
and needs to be consistent both with, our zoning as well as the master plan.
and the sign ordinance.
And
Yes,
It's gonna be looking better for the same.
what I was gonna say is I think that would fall under either the city manager or the community service director as well to determine.
So we'll just put it, we'll say for this group, for this purpose.
Yes,
high
it's a priority for this group,
And
and
then-
then we'll have to get that communicated.
To them, and then they'll
Yeah.
base their figuring out capital improvement funding on that. Okay. So then what do we want to do with the story map?
well, I don't know that we can leave the story map in there until we decide who's actually going to maintain it.
Well, we can have it as a goal.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, these are goals, absolutely.
Okay,
So I'd say that one has come up multiple times, so we might put that as
okay,
Cephala Boulevard conversion design plan. So what that would be hire an engineer or whoever you hire, I would say like this, to do the actual
yeah,
engineering design for that. So I don't know, that one seems like it might be more of a longer term priority. What do you think?
I think that the design part is important in terms of having everything else work together, it did work together with other stuff. But going beyond that.
Okay, so the
probably not.
plan,
So
do
the
that,
plan part is
hire-
important.
okay.
Implementing it, I think just then can happen as other stuff happens. So that we're not, making it so that it's impossible to do something that would have been a really great idea.
yeah.
If we've got some kind of notion of what we're trying to do.
Off street parking study. This is kind of a plan commission thing. So we'll put that one high. And high. Prior, I would find
I think that's a very important part of what we're trying to accomplish.
that department.
Yeah.
I've got priority and then I've got time frames. Like I've already decided it for you.
Mhm.
Now that I look at it. Or am I interpreting that wrong?
No, I think
They're different.
I think so.
Okay.
It seems we're hitting a lot of high priorities.
But the non-infrastructure stuff is easier.
Okay.
Even these ones that are just the low cost, ranging from $0 to $100,000, that could be a big expense. I mean, even at $100,000, I think we need some input from John on this, because the way this task force developed was Robert Dew requested it and the planning commission agreed that we needed it. But to execute all these things, I don't think anything has gone beyond this group at this point, and I don't know. I mean, we do need the funding for it. If we're gonna say this is what we want, we need to get
Well, part of the planning implementation effort here is this is telling us what this group wants as the highest priority for our downtown. And it's not, we're not guaranteeing it. So then your implementation mechanisms are your capital improvement.
Okay,
your
so this is
fiscal-
just a plan. It's not
Yeah.
something that will be moving forward without.
So when your finance group makes their capital improvement, their other, 1 year, 5-year budgets, they use all the planning documents at their disposal to make decisions or to guide their
Got it.
decisions.
Okay,
So this might say, we need a roundabout at that weird that 5-point intersection.
Oh,
That's
sure.
that's a high priority, we'll say.
yeah,
And then some other project might not be that same priority level because it's, I don't know, it's just, it's a tool for helping decide where the money's gonna be spent in the future. Based on prioritization and based on opportunities.
okay.
So maybe that parcel becomes available and you can actually move quicker on this.
Click on it, yeah.
But if nothing happens, then just because we said we want it to be a high priority, pieces aren't in place to execute it in reality. So
Got it.
it's,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, the council's gonna be the final say as how money is allocated to do the priorities.
true.
So,
And we can put in here a disclaimer too, that says these are,
I think that would be good,
okay,
yeah.
one of the things that I really would like to see, once this plan is done, that council refers to it
Oh, yeah,
more than they have
sure.
the original one. And that's part of the thing where Scott and I had it, and I think Robert was involved in that too. We had a disagreement as to, did you even consider the master plan when you approved the cat?
Oh,
Cat daycare or whatever it is.
okay. Well,
It's like, wait a minute here.
was that something?
And it was like, no, they hadn't taken any consideration about the master plan at all.
Sure,
you know
But-
what might be part of the reason behind that, I'm just speculating, is there maybe wasn't a planner on staff at the time.
There, I'm sure that's the case. That
Because
there
that's
wasn't,
who's
what they,
tracking that stuff.
it was like Scott was like, we didn't even discuss it at all.
well, let me ask you this, wasn't it a privately owned business sold to another privately owned business? And as long as
Oh.
it's zoned
Yeah,
for the proper
Correct.
zoning, then,
Right.
It
then
wouldn't be
it's
a
not an
single-
issue, so it wouldn't even, it would not even have
Well,
crossed.
it
his
went through
plate.
council and the council proved it.
oh, maybe it had a conditional use. permit or
So
something.
I don't know
Yeah, I know we saw it in the
planning.
planning commission,
Mm.
Yeah,
but there was some real limitations in terms of what we could do. or say.
yeah, and I'm sure that's the case.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it's, strictly looking at the zoning.
I've been on the other side of it
Right,
going, listen, you have a development agreement, and the development agreement with the city provides that you can, that this can be done. Just because the planning commission doesn't see that as a viable thing, they want, instead of a Wendy's restaurant, they want a coffee shop in that spot. They had a development, we had a development agreement with the city of Vadnais Heights. It provided for this much restaurant space.
Mm.
We fit all the criteria and we got beat by zip at the planning commission.
Mhm.
So we brought our attorney to the council and 132 said, hey, we're planning on going there, and actually legally, based on your signed development agreement that you have with the developer, you've already approved this.
right.
You can't really, I mean,
But that's
You
a
can
development agreement.
make it difficult for us and you could make us go to court and stuff like that. But in the end, you will lose.
Sure. So was there something proposed there in a development agreement or just?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
I just mean that you're right about if it's zoned properly and everything. You can make it go slower though.
Hmm.
Well, the same thing with the catering
Yeah,
thing there, you know. I mean, we did several, well, we really hope that you'll do this. You know, we really, you know, we would encourage you to put a restaurant in here. And that's as much as we could really do. We
Yeah.
didn't have any teeth to-
Yeah.
to
no,
say
I
no,
agree,
And
but we're in a different position now.
Yeah.
North St. Paul is in a different position because of all the new development that's gone on.
All right.
I would think that there is going to be a higher demand for,
You think we need to rezone that? Is that, I guess. I'm
no,
not
no,
following.
no,
I don't
I don't
think
think
it's
that,
zoning.
I just think we need to make sure that the council understands and planning understands that we want them to take into consideration the long-term plan when they're doing this.
Approving any.
Now, there may
conditional
be,
permits.
it may only be lip service. Like, we can't stop the cat place from coming. But at least it is brought up and they take that into consideration. I mean, before it was like, and this is the impression I got from our two council representatives that were on the EDA, was the fact that the master plan was done and nobody had really looked at it or
Oh,
referred to it at all for the last 10 years.
Well,
Which, what's the point of us even going through this exercise if
Yeah.
they're not going to?
Right, right. I guess the only thing I'm confused about is, so we can, and it is zoned for specific uses, well, specific types of uses, whether it's retail or services or something along those
Mhm.
lines. But we can't pick one service over another
Mixed-
service, so
mixed use
that's,
is pretty broad.
Well,
Right.
and it's the same thing with the Lilly building.
yes.
It's because we're out of it now, the EDA is out of it
And
now.
it's a private.
It's a
party.
private party to a private
Private
party,
party.
but they still have to come for approval to the city council, and unless what their development meets what we're looking for, I certainly don't think it should be I mean, granted, we've seen all the plans and stuff like that,
And
but
you know, it's really, what is the legal basis for making that, you know, that kind of determination?
Yeah.
Right, Right.
You know, no, we don't want, you know,
yeah,
whatever.
because that could be so subjective, and it
Yeah.
depends on who you
We get
ask.
nailed to
Correct.
the wall, or something like
Right.
that.
Right,
I think that you guys are in a better position now than maybe you were
Mhm.
during these other decision-making processes, because you've got your zoning has been updated so that it's going to help bring in the kind of development that we want.
yes,
So that's working in tandem with this, which is now telling us what we want to see. And you've got, I hope you're gonna have a little bit more, less staff turnover and more intellectual, or not intellectual, institutional, you know.
Memory.
That's
Yep.
it. To make sure that when we're watching, so plan commission's role is, when you get a proposal that's coming through that you need to act on, staff's job is going to be providing you the information that's going to review against the comp plan and any other plan
And-
that might be applicable to
Yeah,
that
and
vicinity,
master plan.
right? So then that's what's going to guide your decision making, and hopefully when budget time comes around, all the documents that have anything to do with any projects get pulled off the shelf, and somebody is, going through them and saying
Mhm.
what we say we want it to do.
yes.
So
And
that's
what are our
not
priorities, and do we specifically budget for the things that are our
Sure,
priorities?
sure. And I
Right,
think
so
that's
that-
where the void was previously.
Yeah, so that's kind of a tricky thing to track sometimes, because plans are all built differently, and sometimes you really got to dig in to figure out what did we say we we're going to do, and is there a project here that's like
Well, we had was Wally the city administrator when the original master plan was developed?
How many have you had in the past 10 years?
Well, we had an interim, Craig Waldron.
Yeah, so we
I think
had,
that was after Wally, and then,
no, Wally was here for a number of years and he left the city to go to another city. And then we had Jason Senior,
Jason,
oh,
I
okay,
remember.
who was here a short while. He made some pretty significant changes, but he didn't make it past his probation period.
Oh,
So then we had the interim city manager, which was Craig Walden, and
Yeah.
he was here longer than he anticipated, but it was still short term, and then we had Scott do that.
then another interim.
No, well, Brian, yeah, the electric,
So you had, that's like what, 5, 4 or
Yeah.
5 in the
Yeah.
period of what, 10 years?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of turnover of your, major
yes,
decision making.
Yes, and also in community development, there's been a lot of
Yeah.
turnover as well.
And then at WSB as well, since you're
Yes.
using that
Yes.
service.
Yeah, so,
So I could see all of these combined, things are gonna fall through the cracks, but I think you're in a better position now.
I think, I do too, it appears to, but then again, I've been on the EDA now for 5 years. And one of the reasons why Terry asked me is like, because I use my neighbor and I would go up to him and say,
oh,
What's going on?
what? The city owns this property. Why are you not developing this property?
Yeah.
And finally he said, well, it's time for you to put your money where your mouth is.
sure.
So,
Okay.
all right.
um,
So what's the next one?
Okay,
We probably should,
create a facade improvement program. So this would be, and the potential funding that I have here might be questionable. A special service area, so it'd be a special taxing district, so this might be harder to get political feasibility. And it's something that other communities do, to provide grants maybe for
yeah,
people come in and fix up their building facades. So I feel like this is a little,
probably. I mean,
Yeah, we don't
it
have the
depends.
staff for that.
it kind of depends really on, we've had a lot of development for a long time. I mean, maybe, if it keeps going, if Max Diner takes off and stuff like that. I mean, I wouldn't want to be the crappy looking place on the block.
true. Also, a lot of the vision in this document talks about it kind of scraping some of the stuff. Building down,
Yeah,
which kind of defeats a lot of the facade improvement programs around the country are intended to revamp historic buildings. So a good idea, but we'll put it as a low priority.
all right.
This is maybe a little aside. I had a friend that I went camping with this winter. We're talking, he lives up in Armida. We're talking about nursing home for a bit. But, wow, they're changing everything there. It's not that quaint little downtown.
It's true.
And,
A lot of media is changing too, though.
right.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, Matamita is not a very, but, I mean, I like driving down Summit.
Mhm.
Matamita is not that attractive and the streets aren't, I mean, they're barely enough for 2 cars to drive on.
But I guess my point really is, there's something there that we want to maintain. And that's probably in the facade part of it. And I think here again, it's a matter of if we have some type of just a general plan that keeps everybody kind of going in generally the same direction. And if it's piecemeal type of stuff that we pick up,
Mhm.
you know, good. I mean, even if it's a paragraph or 2 paragraphs that say, generally we want to,
Sure.
preserve some of the history, which is things that, people say all the time.
I see that being in your design guideline.
Mhm.
I think it might actually be in there already.
Yeah,
So just flying that forward again.
so.
Well, the only way the facade stuff is going to get changed is if there are grants available.
Right.
Right,
yeah.
I mean,
which makes it grand.
people that are really successful business people are gonna change. I mean, they're gonna do their, if they think it's gonna benefit them, they'll do their facade anyway.
Yeah, I see that.
But
Mhm.
This is property owners and developers of grant writing. I think that could be
a woman has,
I should have IT get one of those extension wheels that we could put right on top of the table.
I'm gonna put replat and vacate right away where appropriate is a little priority. So it's kind of just like cleaning up personal boundaries.
Mhm.
Things come up.
Yeah,
Okay, so then Highway 36 and Century Avenue interchange improvements. I think we need a new category in here that's maybe like high priority, but,
super high.
well, okay, wait, no, I have ASAP in there.
Yeah, but priority, I think it also is, this is a high priority. Because that has such an impact on any kind of development that occurs on the east side of downtown. Until that happens, nobody's gonna want to do it.
That's true.
And,
we're not gonna be able to attract anything in that corner until that's determined. I certainly, as a business person looking for some place to go, that would, until it's determined what's gonna happen there.
then you can physically say, oh, okay, I can expect this kind of traffic.
Correct.
This is the way things flow and, yeah.
Yep.
And it just is such a
I know that
base.
we
concrete
have
type of thing.
people that were interested in the BP site right away, and we basically, the EDA told the council that said, hey, that's part of our investment in that. We don't want somebody to get a 5-year lease or whatever, or buy it, and then we'll have to turn around and buy it back from them.
Right.
That makes no sense at all.
Trail access improvements at all of your trailheads. High, medium.
I gotta look.
Well, I'm gonna defer to you because
To me, it's it has a lot to do with, is it lip service that people are giving to, bike and pedestrian traffic, or do they really mean it? If they really mean it, to connect that to the city, it's an opportunity. But if people recognize that as an opportunity, the decision makers, the city council, and the people heading up planning, they see that as important. And if they do,
I sure
it's
think
an
planning does.
opportunity. It's a great.
I agree. I
opportunity.
think the joint EDA planning commission meetings, I've heard that
Mhm.
Over and over.
over and
Yeah.
over again.
And I
And you've
agree with
got
it,
Thorson and who's the other one on council? Oh, Lisa.
Lisa.
Yeah, I think that you might be in a position where biking and connecting that trail to downtown is definitely seen
A positive.
as a.
Yeah, both in terms of just
A priority.
adding to the,
Yeah.
The number of people in the downtown area, but also just targeted.
Well, wasn't
Or
there
maybe-
some discussion in an EDA meeting that they don't want bikes downtown?
Well, they would prefer that they were on Cephala.
Okay.
Well,
Which is. why
Yeah, they were gonna
several
mark,
other-
it. They
know,
talked
we gotta
about
have a plan
marking the
of some sort.
Yeah.
sidewalks.
What?
They talked about marking the sidewalks for no bikes.
that makes sense. A lot of places have that in downtowns because you don't want somebody on a bike when people are, walking out of their
Well, we have,
stores.
I
But you
mean,
want
to be honest with you, we have several senior citizens apartment buildings and stuff like that that are, I mean, I certainly don't want somebody to get hit by a bike.
Right.
And
Don't you have like improvements or a lane or something on Seventh now that's been done?
On seven.
I don't think on Seventh.
No.
You got the.
We did a temporary trial one on Margaret here a few years ago. But there, I don't think there's anything on seven.
Well, I think,
Can I put out my 2 cents as a biker here? And if I hate being correct, but I don't think you need any special bike infrastructure on Seventh because it's already a 25-mile-an-hour street. I think people should be yielding to you as a biker.
I like.
yeah, that's the famous last words though.
It's like-
They should yield to you, but
But it's when you're on those major thoroughfares like McKnight or Century,
Yeah.
where the traffic is moving, if we're in 25 miles an hour, it's
Yeah.
engineered to do so.
well, the one nice thing about both Century and McKnight, if you're on the state trail, you're going over,
Yes.
which that's really convenient, I believe.
Mhm.
And then that was the one thing, we didn't do as much walking this year, but we walked on the state trail all the time last year during COVID and stuff like that. And it was really nice not have to, you just walk right over the McKnight. No, and to be honest with you, we go the other way. There's a bridge over White Bear too.
Yes.
And there were bikes on there. Lots of bikes, actually.
Mhm. Yeah, I-
Because you're going somewhere, I mean, that's a long trail. right?
Yep.
Mhm. I used to bike.
All right, I'm putting that down as an H.
Okay, I'm good.
Your wayfinding kiosk and gateway features at Rotary Park. So you've got a wayfinding sign.
Yeah, they've been working on signage for there for quite a while now.
At Rotary specifically, I thought you were looking at it.
Both Rotary specifically has been in the work for a few years, but they have received an allocated amount from the park fund. But then there's some controversy with what the sign will look like. And being as if the park is, the Park and Rec Commission is dedicated some money, they feel that if they're gonna give them the money, that they need to have it look like our city park signs.
The parks funding coming from the city though.
Yes, yes, but Rotary Park is,
Oh, is it not a city park?
well, it's in the city, but it is, I think, part of it was sponsored by the Rotary Club. And part of it is on the Gateway Trail, so I don't know, and I know that that's part of it. Pardon?
Maybe MinDOT owns it.
Yes, the part of it, yes. So it's kind of a collaborative park, and then, so yeah, there's some funding. The park improvement plan did call for some signage, so I know they're working on that for the parks, but then the wayfinding is kind of a separate project.
Okay, so that's kind of already in the works.
Yeah,
How about establish a passive open space? And that was that little strip of land in between Gateway and McKnight. Those townhomes and all that.
oh.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
gonna-
yeah.
Strip,
I see that name before.
yeah,
District wide wayfinding.
maybe that can evolve.
District-wide wayfinding. So this is your kind of basically implementing your wayfinding program.
I think the gateway signs are fine.
Yeah, and I'd actually like, if we're gonna have trail access, there should be signage. If I'm driving down and I don't want to get off at McKnight or get off at Rotary Park and come into downtown, what if I want to do it at Margaret and
That's what the wayfinding plan is intended to
Okay,
do.
How about establish a downtown plaza / urban open space? Now, this one was related to that parking lot between.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think
And
that's
that's
a,
in the works.
I think that's a fairly high priority.
Yeah, from the
I know
conversation.
that, we just discussed that at EDA again this last meeting.
Yeah, we're having plans drawn up for that. It's gonna
Yep.
be a temporary.
Oh, okay. Well, this would be more the permanent.
Oh, yeah, no,
solution.
this is temporary because they would eventually like to develop that property. Within hopefully 5 years is what I heard.
Oh, with buildings?
Yes.
Oh,
And who knows and what's going on, but how long was the former city building?
Oh,
I mean, what was it? It was almost 10 years that when they put grass and asphalt or
yeah.
somewhere along the way. It was empty for
Number
a
of
lot
years.
longer than that. So
Yeah, we don't know. for
5
sure
years
when
is a-
it'll be
is a great
developed, but
plan,
that's
but
what
yeah.
someone- I don't even remember who said they would like it to be developed. I think there's probably just as many people that would like it to be kept green space.
Yep,
Because I
would
know
agree.
there's a huge
I-
push for that, for the
Yep.
downtown area. They want green space.
that's what I kept hearing over and over.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, so.
well, and then you're
Who was it?
probably
Someone on
looking
the
at
EDA said five.
20
Was it Robert? I don't remember who, but I thought it was someone on the EDA. that-
yeah, it was it was Tim
Oh, sure. So-
Cole. So a council member.
How about art? So this would be combined with your roundabout, whenever that happens. Making a gateway feature out of your new roundabouts. Costly, but it looks
Yeah, well, then I'd like to,
What
You know, those.
I
two
want
are
to
so
see the
tied
roundabout.
together. They're so tied together.
What? Yeah,
I like the idea of the roundabout.
Yep.
I think that is great. And if you're doing, all that effort to reconstruct those intersections, adding the artwork, which is a minor cost
I agree.
comparably.
Yep.
Just adds so
Should
much
be
more
part of
to how appealing it is.
So what
But
is
it's
the,
tied to the roundabout.
Okay.
So, it's like over in timing, same time as roundabout is probably the way
oh,
to
sure.
handle it.
Yeah.
Rather than short-term, medium, or short-medium.
Yep.
Yes.
I've got them both at short term and then I'll put them both at
Short-medium,
higher.
right?
Oh, short to mid, yeah.
Yeah, and just linking them together, I think is useful.
What is the gateway feature?
That would just be whatever. It's
Welcome to North St.
undefined.
Paul, or yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, signage.
Here's how you get to downtown.
Signage or
There's a
Got it.
art or something that's like, you're someplace new.
Couple more
Okay,
giant
got it.
snowman.
we're special.
Yeah.
Multi-use chasm, McKnight and Century,
Pardon?
multi-use bike path or walking bike paths that would be separated from bike lanes.
Well, the Century one, I'm almost positively tied to the interchange.
Yeah,
True.
it would have to be.
And-
Right now, there's not a lot of space available for,
Mhm.
All the plans that I've seen indicate that as well. So
And it
we'll make a
almost-
note of that.
ties the McKnight one to redevelopment that would occur with those older businesses on the west side of McKnight.
I had it listed or drawn on the east side of McKnight because on the west side you have sidewalks already.
Yep.
Do you have sidewalks on the east side?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
In which
The east
case,
side, yeah, there's sidewalk. No, there isn't any sidewalk at all, because they run from the Anchor Drive
Yep.
north, and it's all grass from there, and it must be grass from south of there.
so that's where you need it, but we've already redeveloped
On the
those
west side.
sites on the east sides. So the redevelopment's already happened.
Well, but it doesn't work very well when you get to 36. All of the pedestrian traffic is
That's cross.
supposedly pushed to the west side of McKnight. And it's a desert out there.
Are you
There's a
suggesting?
sidewalk, but it's not appealing at all. I think it's, it times with when somebody says, okay, these buildings ought to be, I'm gonna buy them and redevelop this site. We talk about it back in the plan for that area. This would be a great site for education or, a bunch of other opportunities. That's when it all happens.
Right.
Okay, so what I think I hear you saying is that the map needs to change so that the trail is on the
On the
west
west
side,
side.
and
I
that
think so.
and that you
I think
need-
so.
maybe a sidewalk on the east side.
I'm not sure where the sidewalk goes to, because
Yeah.
there's no sidewalk all the way up the east side, all the way to 11, maybe beyond.
It's
I
all
think
on
it's
the
really-
west side.
Yeah, it's all on the west side. I think probably Target.
And there's room on the west side to
Yeah.
make the sidewalk bigger to accommodate bikes, I think.
Mhm.
But I'm not,
I,
with the new M&I development and stuff like, I'm not sure how much room there is on the east side to do,
and even at 36,
yeah.
going under the bridge there, I don't think there's much room there at all. But on the west side.
I was gonna say the
Thank
only
you.
place that there would be room is under the bridge, but I'm not sure.
Mhm.
But because there's nothing else, it never gets used. I think there's no, you don't think so? You're the runner.
Yeah,
But you would never be on the east side anyway.
No, I always run on the east side because I come from over,
Oh, okay.
and I run down and then stay on east
So
side.
you
of
just stay on the
Midnight.
grass.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's.
So there's
and they
not
got
much of a
warnings, don't
sidewalk
cross here and
underneath
all that,
that. Yeah.
you can change the sign.
Okay,
It
I'll
just isn't real friendly.
modify the maps
Great.
to reflect that. So Cephala Boulevard, the actual project, how do we want to prioritize that?
I'm gonna
think it's
defer
as
to planning,
opportunity.
because planning is, when I heard the bike paths on Cephala and all the Cephala conversation always come from planning.
And I guess what I would say is if we have a plan in place for Cephala, then as opportunities arise, we follow that plan. Okay, and so that means it's a little different than the timing that you got listed. It's as possible or as needed, or you got the as needed. That's maybe.
I don't know how you feel, but I personally think Cephala should be one way.
Did it just get converted from one way to two way?
Yes.
No, I don't know.
Well, it was 2-way and then it was 1-way for a short while and then for. I
If
don't know.
if we're talking
Reason was-
bike on Cephala, I believe it needs to, I don't think there's enough room to do two-way traffic and bike traffic.
Well, I had that other idea that got shot down, maybe by Morgan, maybe by you guys, I can't remember. Where it's a bike boulevard, which would basically close it off to all traffic except for
I-
people that need to be there, delivery vehicles, et
Yeah,
cetera.
but I don't think you can do that because of the way the post
Oh, the post office.
office.
Mhm.
I mean,
I think
I
it's
drive
forever.
down Cephala that way to do the letters all the time, or drop mail.
Even if it's two-way bike, I think I feel safer on Cephala.
Well,
If it were just modified a little bit than I do the diagonal parking one.
I agree.
If the diagonal parking is always kind of.
I have a hard time,
It's
I
easy
mean,
to-
we've been doing the remodel at my house, so I spent a lot of time at Rossback, which is, you know, you park there and then to try to pull out. I can't imagine trying to drive a bike down that
What are we talking about?
7.
Oh,
7th. Yeah, with diagonal traffic or diagonal parking is
yeah,
difficult to see, and I certainly, it's bad enough for a car, let alone, I mean, I can't imagine what it would be like for a bike. Bike's driving down the road and all of a sudden somebody,
Yeah. And if that's one of the key criterias for Cephala in doing a plan for it,
mhm.
then maybe we do get something that's fairly reasonable for bike.
Well, and maybe this conversation is premature. Maybe this happens when that plan is developed.
correct.
Figure out, does it need to be, in order to achieve the bike friendly, does it have to be one way? And
Yeah,
have the engineers figure it out.
yes, I think
I never minded going a couple blocks down to do the one way.
Hmm.
That never bothered me. It seemed to make a lot of sense that it was one way, especially on the west side of McKnight.
Somebody
Or
got to
that
be in
part
their
of it.
bonnet about it though.
What?
Somebody got to be in their bonnet.
Oh, yes, definitely.
So who was that?
Beats me
Yeah, I don't know. the
I wasn't
history behind
involved in
that,
the-
no.
when they switched it to two-way again.
I'm gonna put picnic park as needed, because it would be combined with the Cephala project. The water tower, that's whatever, you need water tower done. So that's how- Oh, here's one, very utility lines. I think I got that with permit comp plan, which, great idea, but it's costly. So I could say something like, we could say high, medium, or low priority, but it would be as,
it's high priority when those opportunities come up. It's not something that's high priority if there's not the opportunity.
so like if we were to reconstruct Cephala, that's the time to do it.
Yep.
Sidewalk infill, oh boy. I'm scared to touch sidewalk infill.
Rightly so, like, boy, trying to get sidewalks built in this city.
How about we put medium in there, and then we'll
Okay,
touch one.
well, the one nice thing is is that I don't have to worry about that anymore. I used to come to the EDA meetings and I'd walk. I had to walk on 7th for a long time before I got to a sidewalk. And the sidewalk's supposed to go all the way down, and that seems to be the project that doesn't ever get accomplished.
All the way down to McKnight?
Yeah.
Really?
What do we mean by infill here? Is it
That-
along 7th only?
No,
Or
it's-
along 7th and Margaret? Well, Margaret's got it. Yeah, what
Well,
is it?
there's on the maps,
Uh-huh.
for each district, there's dotted lines that show where sidewalk doesn't exist.
Mhm.
So anything that is
Okay.
dotted, wherever you have a broken sidewalk connection. So you
You
got it here and here, but there's nothing here. So that would be an obvious infill project.
So it's, for the redevelopment on Silver Lake, on the boulevard, on Lake Boulevard, the thing that made it work, I believe, is that the city agreed that, yep, this is a major trail and we will maintain,
That's,
we will
Yeah.
plow it. And that cut out all kinds of resistance.
Oh, I'm
but
sure.
it's also a point of contention with a lot of people that don't have the sidewalks plowed by the city. So
Yeah.
it's an ongoing,
Mhm.
wherever we're gonna put city sidewalks and the city has to maintain them.
But at the last meeting we had, we talked about, well, that's kind of an expectation in the downtown area. Is that, yeah, the city's going to maintain this, do the snow maintenance part of it in the downtown area. So maybe adding something about downtown area. I mean. it
Well,
is
this is the downtown
and
plan.
it's- Yeah, right.
And this isn't talking
So-
about maintenance, it's just installing.
But the issue
Maintenance
is
is
that it's,
still a
nobody's
big
gonna
thing.
support it unless it's
Maintained by the
whether it's
city.
plowed by the city.
Mhm.
So
Paid
what
for
are you
and
saying?
paid for and maintained by the city.
Is that what you want me to put in?
Well, we talked about it last time is, having something in, I forget where it was, but it was like, in this area, the city plows the streets.
Was that a decision that we made last meeting?
I thought people agreed to it. I don't know if you
That did
remember
not
that.
make
I
it.
remember
Not in
talking
this
about
In
it.
this meeting?
Or, yeah, in this group.
Okay, if that is supposed to be in here, it did not make it into this.
Okay,
So that, I could see that being like a
that was,
special service area kind of thing, like we downtown businesses, if we want to support our customers, we're all gonna throw in to have this
Yeah.
service.
there's a little
Like,
extra
something.
tax involved in it
Yeah.
or whatever, but it gets taken care of, it gets taken care of all at once. So it's the, sidewalk infill in special snow plowing district. I mean, that isn't the way to
Are
work
you
it
sure you
here.
want to make it only within the places that are guaranteed to have?
I don't think it's gonna happen realistically outside of it. To get that resistance. I could be wrong. I run over here, on Anchor Drive or whatever it is. And the storage place didn't plow at all on their sidewalks. So I'm running on the street and all went,
Okay,
and
I got it. So that,
I mean, if we're trying to make it work, then there's these connections.
I certainly believe had they done that properly, that the storage place, they were supposed to maintain the sidewalk. That should have been a,
Code enforcement.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I nearly did call the, the city.
Yeah, I mean,
Without a
and it,
doubt.
I don't really feel bad for the people that live on Margaret because the lake sidewalk gets plowed, but the ones that live on Margaret, that's not plowed by the city. They have to maintain that sidewalk. It's not like when they bought the property that they didn't know they were gonna maintain the sidewalk. I mean, that's my whole thing is that, well, they get their sidewalks plowed. Why can't I have my sidewalk plowed? No, that's not the deal.
all right, I'm gonna add under the first category of non-infrastructure projects, establish a sidewalk maintenance district or something like
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I like that.
that. And then sidewalk infill, I'll put as medium priority.
Yeah.
That's the actual.
To be honest with you, the one infill area is from where the roundabout on the 5,
Mhm.
that sidewalk's never gonna get down there until that roundabout is done.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because otherwise, how else are you gonna
Yeah.
get
You
through
don't wanna
that
build it
area?
and then tear it out.
Yeah. So
Well, it's got,
So that's
It's
another
got
one, like.
asphalt.
it's
where an
already,
opportunities
I mean, the
arise.
sidewalk and part of it's asphalt now,
up to,
all the way up to Third, yeah. It used to be there
yeah, I know, it's running the street, again.
because it was only up to like the Oak Hill area.
Property owners putting in the sidewalk, or is this city?
That is a question
It was like,
to be determined by the budget committee.
Okay.
yeah, and it was the city's, I think it's the city's property that didn't get paid.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a good look.
No,
It all comes down to budget, Randy. Nobody wants to pay more taxes.
But the roundabout.
Well, all I can say is, nobody wants to pay more taxes, but I guarantee you, we have 100 new units that we're getting no tax from
You got
We
that
have a
right.
128 unit apartment building. We have Sentinel that,
And they want to keep adding more, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna stop.
I'm gonna
talking
say
right
that-
at that, that's all I'm gonna
So-
say, but
now they are gonna take a percentage of city services, but they're all gonna pay taxes. And those are all gonna be new taxes that we haven't had for a long time.
I wonder if there's a way.
But their excuse from the, or like because of the tip, we don't, city doesn't get that, those tax dollars.
Tip's not gonna last forever.
It's a 20-year tip.
This is a long-term plan.
Um,
As long as I'm paying taxes, they won't be paying.
Screw it out, attorney. I'm thinking, so sidewalks to me are kind of like a recreational amenity, which could are dedication fees.
Yeah, we'd have to find out, because that can only be used for certain things with the park. I think, isn't it new parks?
I don't know.
We'd have to check on
that.
We count as open space.
I don't know, so what I do know is that there's, yeah, the park and rec budget, the EDA has a budget. Public Works has a budget.
We'll put sidewalks as medium. EV charging stations. I'm gonna get that page because I want one.
I think we need, I mean, the two, we need to account for a lot more than that. Although,
Oh,
Who knows when there's gonna be enough chips.
They're
Maybe
putting more in up here at the new parking lot. We got a grant for that.
Oh, thanks.
yeah, I know, that's just two.
Oh, two in addition. What do we have out here already? Is that one or two?
We have two here at City Hall. But I'm gonna say the two that we got a grant for, that's in the new
Oh.
parking lot,
That's
that's
enough.
not enough.
Can non-city people use the ones that are here at City Hall?
I think there's a nominal fee. I guess I don't know how they work, but yeah, you certainly.
That's just, I should check it out.
Yeah, what do you pull in here, park and fill up.
Figure out how it works in spirit of technology. So.
Did you, so you have an electric car?
I do, but it's like one of those first generation ones, so I only get like 30 miles maybe.
Okay.
So I can't even get to the office
Oh,
on a charge. So it switches to gas,
got it.
Oh, so it's a hybrid vehicle?
the gas.
Okay,
It's in Volt
Yeah.
So where do you charge?
by my house.
Oh, okay.
Because, well,
I
maybe
just-
you don't know, because in Wisconsin, the land of the electric vehicles, or whatever, you can get rebates or whatever for that charging
Nice.
plug.
Mhm.
I heard somebody talk about that 90%, and it was just was on NPR today, like 90% of all charges happens at home overnight. But they said that there are a lot of free charging stations. But in the future, those will not remain free.
Free, sure. Well, they've got one at Hy-Vee over
Yeah,
there, and I pulled in there thinking I was gonna use it. Then you gotta have an app, and you gotta know how to use it, and you have to pay for it. What am I paying for it? But I just wanted to, I don't know how to use it.
I don't want to add another app to my phone or
Yeah,
whatever.
and spend 20 minutes figuring out how to make it work.
Well, and then each different, I mean, Hy-Vee probably has their own, and then a different one's gonna have their own, and the city of Minneapolis is gonna have their own, that,
Oh, so is there a different app for each one of those, you think?
I'm sure there are.
Standardization will happen eventually. you know?
Isn't a big, I would imagine that a big portion of the EV charging stations is getting power to the station. And so if what we do as we rebuild 7, as we do various, reconstruction projects, lay in the foundation for those types of things so that, when it is needed, then it's just a matter of adding a station. It's not a matter of
Yeah,
digging up the road and putting in
And I think
conduit.
that's
and
happening
da-da-da-da.
over here.
Yeah.
I believe that we've talked about that in EDA, that
Yeah.
even though we have a grant for 2, we want the power to be
Yes.
able to
Yeah, I think that's in
do,
the.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly, yep. So that's, so there's different timing on those things.
Yeah, that's.
One
good.
is, as opportunities arise,
Mhm.
put in infrastructure, put in conduit, whatever, that will allow the stations to be put in. And then give
I
it
think
enough.
that's probably the more expensive item, because once you've got that taken care of, then it's really just.
Yeah.
throw it on.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a lot less
exactly.
costly if you're piggybacking on top of another project.
Good idea. The parking ramp, I'm putting it a low priority. Water management, probably high. Public art. What do you feel about that? Make that,
Well, the Arts Council is,
Yeah, I would say if you make, if you ask the Arts Council, that's a very high priority.
but there is an opportunity that's, the city, well, some places, I think the state of Minnesota, any public project, they'll designate 1% of that project budget for
Yes.
art, so the city could do something like that, but city project. That would be really
well,
nice.
there's also an opportunity to go through the legacy as well. And
What's the-
Isn't that
Our-
what she's referring to?
the legacy
The
amendment.
state legacy.
The 1%?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
well, that's not necessarily funded by legacy.
Oh,
State legacy program?
There's
The
a,
state,
the
LCR,
legacy, the 0.375 percent sales tax.
Oh.
That's, it's a DNR and the legacy,
Gamble,
pardon,
doesn't come from the.
no, comes from sales tax. And it was a referendum, and Leon Lilly is the chairman of the committee.
yeah, and I thought, for some
So
reason.
the arts, I told the arts
Yes, that's what it
council
was.
that if they have a project that they want and they want a grant from the legacy committee,
Mhm.
go talk to Leon.
So I should add this to our source, funding source options.
Correct.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, well, we got through the list.
Hey,
Uh,
yeah, if you don't ask, you're not gonna get.
That's true.
That's where the bridge over Century came from. That was a
Oh.
legacy project,
Okay.
so. And
So it's
they're
not
one of the
limited.
only committees that have gotten they finished their bill and were done with their work 2 weeks ago. So they're one of the only committees at the state legislature that's actually done with their work.
Really?
Yes.
So it's not limited to just art, you're saying, the legacy fund is
No,
for.
No.
Natural resource.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the DNR gets a portion of for natural resources. And then cities and counties and different communities can apply for grants from the legacy committee.
I don't think I have any other questions, so regarding that, about the outreach for the next step, so I'll take these comments, get this finalized, send it out to the task force with a little short description of what's changed. And then as far as going forward with meetings, should we wait until we have consensus from everybody before scheduling
I don't think we need to schedule a meeting unless somebody feels it's necessary to meet again.
I didn't mean with the task force, but
Oh.
like the planning commission, is it time to take this out now?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you just.
Yeah, as long as we
make
get consensus from
changes.
the from the rest of the people that are in this group, yeah, I think so.
So if I can
Yeah,
get.
you already have consensus from us,
Mhm.
because we're here.
So the landscape architect is done Friday, so. Well, maybe I might even need her though. No, I do. I do need her to do something.
80% of it show up.
That's right.
Then we'll give, is a week enough time after it gets emailed out to
Yes.
say, please look at this and tell me.
Yeah, I think we need to be specific
Yeah.
on the
about that.
deadline, so
Yeah,
the main specs will get their deadline. And
If
then,
you're okay with this, then here's what the schedule is.
and then if that goes forward, then we'll have Carrie upload the document to the website. She said she was gonna do an e-newsletter that goes to businesses and residents. And then we've got a digital sign in case of park that you can put
Yes.
something on. She said she'd do that and it's social media. And then we'll do the plan commission, the business association, and the development authority.
Are we going to go to reach out for public comment before the plan commission? Is that what the plan is?
That's what I was just suggesting.
Okay.
So, well, we have it open on your website and people can go
And make
make
comments.
comments. So she
Okay.
have
That makes
some
sense.
sort of
Yeah.
digital way to do that.
Yep.
And then people could come to plan commission. So will there be any, will you be at the plan commission and Lisa will be at the plan commission? So can you two help be the reps that, so I can give a presentation and then
Mhm.
speak to it maybe. And then I'll be at review it.
Yep.
Okay, and then as far as the business association goes,
Brett Gary,
is that,
Brett Gary is the president.
oh, but would we
Business.
have anybody from this group that would come champion the project? Or should I? just
To be
reach out?
honest with you, if you have the business community afterwards, Brett is normally at our meeting.
But theirs is first.
Theirs is first.
Theirs is in
Oh,
the
okay.
morning, theirs is at 3:30.
Oh, that's right.
And there's a lot of people in the business association that are not in the EDU. not-
Yeah, I know, but I would expect that Brett would.
Oh,
Let the business association know that this is available.
well, I think we were gonna present it, weren't we?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So we would meet with them, but we could give it to them in a special invite, maybe.
Yeah,
would-
Carrie was gonna schedule something.
What day is that? The 10th,
The 14th.
the 14th? That's a Tuesday, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I might be available for that. Were we doing at the next planning commission meeting? Or the next EDA meeting of the joint planning EDA
Yeah, so we.
afterwards?
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be a freaking long day. I'm not used to that. I've been retired for too long.
The next
55
one,
hours a week, so
What?
I've been doing 55 hours a week.
14th?
And comp time,
Oh,
depending
good.
on what I'm doing.
The next EDA meeting, we're not going to talk about sign ordinance. Next one.
Something.
Not the EDA meeting, the next
The
planning. meeting.
joint DC.
Oh,
the
the
joint.
joint
Yeah, we
meeting, okay,
At the joint.
Oh, yeah.
all right.
That's gonna knock your socks off. So much fun.
Riveting, as they say.
Okay, well, that's it.
Oh, crap, too, Robert's gonna be gone. He's gonna be in Scotland.
You're
Is
it.
that better?
Uh,
That means you're it, right?
Well, it should be Kevin, but
Should be, but he's usually
Kevin is
helping
almost
too.
never at our meetings these days. Yeah,
I think we're gonna be done in July.
That'd be nice.
good.
I know. And the sign ordinance is gonna be done.
Wow, we're just moving along.
I know.
Hey,
That, the sign ordinance is now.
all right.
All right, that's a wrap.
20 minutes early.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, sorry I was late.
We got through in a very quick